in the history of the Alumni Federation. 4 years ago, the Houston chapter had a similar forum at one of its crawfish boils, but this is truly a testament to the hard work of the Nominations and Elections Committee. You know, this is a sort of a bittersweet moment for me, maybe a little more sweet than bitter, as I turn over the mantle to the new regime of leaders. I want to introduce to all of you the incredible hard-working alums who make up our Nominations and Elections Committee. So if all of you would turn your attention to my far right, and I'll just go down the line, Mr. Brian Adams, who is the Financial Secretary for the Alumni Federation, but also serves on our Nominations and Elections Committee. We also have Pat Johnson. Pat Johnson has so many hats that she wears. She is the chapter president for the Atlanta chapter. She has served in that role for many years. She served in a number of roles at the national level, and she currently serves as the national parliamentarian. And of course, she serves on this committee. Thank you, Pat. Dr. Warner, Dr. Shana Warner is also wears lots of hats, both with the alumni, also with the foundation. She has served as an officer with the 1880 Society. She is a practicing dentist. So if you need your teeth checked, see Dr. Warner. And in terms of our committee, do we have other members of the committee here that I may have missed? I know Thurston Jones serves on our committee. He's not here at the moment. Perhaps he may be joining us, but he is in the city. And then we have, of course, our illustrious chair, Linda Veal. Linda Veal has served as a past president of our New Orleans chapter. She has served as a president of one of our Baton Rouge chapters. I think, was it the home chapter? She has had so many hats, and she has just done a magnificent job as chair of the Nominations and Elections Committee. That said, I know you're all here not to hear me, but rather to hear from the slate of candidates. What I will do is introduce the slate of candidates, and then I will turn the forum over to our chair, and I will join the audience. Before doing that, though, I do see a bunch of national officers in the audience, and so I would just like for all of them to stand very quickly so that we can give you a round of applause. That said, I'll keep moving around the table in the same direction, and to my right is the chapter president for the Dallas chapter. You'll hear more from her in terms of her credentials. She has served as the chapter president for the Dallas chapter for now 6 years, about 7 years, and she is the national first vice president for the Southern University Alumni Federation. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Laquita Thomas. And to my immediate left is Ms. Camille Mayo. Ms. Mayo is the chapter president for the Los Angeles chapter. She is also the chapter president for the Southern University Alumni Federation Entertainment and Education chapter. Ms. Camille Mayo. And continuing to my left is Mr. Carlton Jones. Mr. Carlton Jones, as you know, these two ladies here are vying for national president. Mr. Jones is vying for the position of national first vice president. He currently serves in the position of third vice president for the Southern University Alumni Federation. Mr. Carlton Jones. While I'm at the position of National First Vice President, I will also introduce Ms. Tracy Taylor-Jarrell, who's not able to be with us today because she had a work commitment. She has served as the president, chapter president of the Houston chapter for a number of years, and you will hear more about her throughout the campaign. And a round of applause for Tracy. Continuing down the line is Ms. Pamela Burley. Ms. Pamela Burley currently serves as the second vice president for the Southern University Alumni Federation. She previously also held the position of third vice president and also president of the home chapter. Ms. Pamela Burley. And finally, to my far left is Mr. Dion Darcet. Mr. Darcet is a member of the Houston chapter. He currently serves as the national chair of the Southern University Young Alumni Network. He is vying for the position of second vice president. Mr. Dion Darcet, everyone. That's it. Again, welcome to our National Candidates Forum. The next voice you will hear is Ms. Linda Veal, the National Chair of the Nominations and Elections Committee. I'm Preston Castile, and you won't hear from me at all the rest of the day. Ms. Veal.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate your introductions. Good day, and thank you all for being patient and tolerant with us. This is our first endeavor, and we ask and pray for your patience as we proceed. First, we would like to just give you, the audience, a statement from the committee about our charge. And this committee was appointed and received the charge in January of 2015 to establish the nominating and electing process for the Federation. Correction, with the change in the bylaws that came in July 2016. I've served since 2014, I'm sorry. Moving forward, our process included qualifying the candidates, the campaign advertisement guidelines, setting that balloting, voter eligibility, and producing the slate of candidates. We have met that charge, and what we would like to do as a committee is to take you back just for a brief moment to our transitioning process that started in 2014, 2015, when President Castillo charged the committee initially with transitioning our election process from paper to an electronic process. The committee identified a vendor, and all of you that were a part of the 2016 election received paper ballots and a voting guide. At this point, the vendor that we chose built our website and managed the entire process. Once all documents were submitted, and that process will be continued, all documents will be submitted in March. It will be handled by the vendor. The committee will only participate in editing and viewing and prepping the site and submitting the data file for balloting to the vendor. At that point, all processes will be managed by the vendor. You will receive your ballot starting early May or late maybe late April. The balloting will go from May 1 to June 30th. Results will be mailed to a single, the election committee email address, by which only I and the director and associate director, Khadijah Campbell and Derek Warren, will have access to. Thereby, the results will only be accessible by 3 individuals. We thank you for allowing us to continue with this process. We ask that you ensure that your mailing addresses are up to date by checking with the alumni office. And at this point, I will turn over the next part of this program to the parliamentarian to give a statement. Would you please turn the mic on for Pat Johnson?
Good morning. I'm Pat Johnson, parliamentarian for the Southern University Alumni Federation. I'm sorry? I am Pat Johnson, parliamentarian of the Southern University Alumni Federation. See, I wear two hats. I'm thinking president of Atlanta chapter, but nevertheless, this morning my purpose here is two things, one, to attest to the fact that all of the procedures and all of the various meetings that we've had on the nomination committee by far has met the bylaws that have been established for the Federation as of the 2016 bylaw amendments and passing that was submitted to the committee and to the body in the 2016 election. Linda?
Thank you, Pat. At this point, we will move forward with our panel led by Shana Warner. Shana?
Good afternoon. We will first ask a set of questions to all candidates and ask for your responses. Please limit them to allow for each person to answer. Limit them to about 3 minutes or less, please. Each candidate will be asked this set of questions. We will just go from Laquita and go around the table and allow each of you to answer those questions. And so before we start with that, we'd like for you to start with your introductions. If you would like to introduce yourself for about 3 minutes, give us a brief statement on maybe why people should vote for you.
Okay. So good morning, everyone in attendance and those that are online. My name is Laquita Thomas, and as mentioned, I serve as the National First Vice President for the Southern University Alumni Federation, and I also have the privilege of serving as the Dallas Chapter President, a role that I've had for now about 7 years. My journey with the Federation started at the tender age of 22, where I was given my first role as fundraising chair for the Dallas Chapter. My vision for the Federation is that we continue to serve with excellence the Southern University system and its campuses. Our key focus areas of student recruitment and retention, fundraising, public relations, as well as our community outreach are really important because those are the tenets in which we are founded, and that is our mission. We will need to continue to focus on succession planning as we do our best to engage and encourage our recent grads, standing on the shoulders and the knowledge and experience of our seasoned alums. I have a passion for the Federation in helping us to restore our nationwide academic presence. Of course, with an emphasis on STEM, as I was a math major here at Southern University, and so that is one of my key platform items, along with onboarding corporate partnerships as we get back and reclaim those Fortune 500 companies that once sat at the table with us. We want to reclaim those, and we want to onboard and engage new partnerships, as those will offer opportunities for our students as well as funding for some of our academic programs. And last but not least, I'd like to say from an alumni engagement perspective that we must attract, engage, and mobilize our alums. So I offer you the AEM plan as we do that for our recent grads, as we do that for our soon-to-be grads, as well as our seasoned alum. And so thank you very much.
Good morning, Jaguar family, and good afternoon to those who are streaming from the East Coast. I can't share with you the level of excitement that I have today, and I'm humbled also to be here to show and to share my love of Southern University, as I know that we all have as well. But in addition, to communicate my strategic vision for the future of our Federation. My vision is grounded in 4 pillars to progress and continued success. Those pillars stem around growth, which would be growth in membership, growth in partnerships, growth in relationships. Accountability. Accountability meaning we need to be accountable to ourselves as well as you. The Southern University system needs to be accountable to all of us. The Board of Supervisors need to be accountable to all of us. And so we want to ensure that there is an accountability plan of action so that we are all knowing and doing and we're all on the same level. Transparency, ensuring that we're reporting and that you know what's happening at any given time. And innovation, All of it will come together through innovation. We want to bring relevant material, relevant content back to the campus of Southern University through alternative methods. We need to be part of the 21st century. And so I'm sure that through the questions and answers that we share today, I hope to gain your support, that my vision for our future aligns with the goals that you set forth and you see forth for the university as well, and the Federation. And I will just add that we have to remember where we've been. It's like Sankofa, right? You remember where you've been, acknowledge where we are, so that we can instill and implement, create a better future for our Federation. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning, Jaguars. First, I'd like to thank the committee for their hard work, and Ms. Linda, I know she does a lot here. I work with her a lot in the home chapter, so me and Ms. Linda have a relationship, and everyone in here has a relationship. We're all Jaguar fans. My name is Carlton Jones. I'm currently the third vice president for the Southern University Alumni Federation. I'm a lifelong Jaguar fan. I fell in love with SU in the third grade with my dad out in the Mini Dome lot tailgating for games. My uncle had season tickets on the east side when that was the good side, back when the east side was the best side to be on. And been brought up ever since then. And that's why we're all here, and that's why I'm here, to try to one day give back to university. And I just want to remind everyone that's what it's all about. We're all here voluntarily. We're all here taking time out from our families to participate and provide for SU. So I got my degree from SU, obviously, in civil engineering. That took me all over the nation, to California, to Denver, to Texas, and back to Baton Rouge currently, where I work as a contractor for ExxonMobil here in the area. And as a lifelong Baton Rouge Knight, you know, I'm here in the area, I'm on campus a lot, so this is like a second home for me. And some may attest, they think that I'm a teacher or an employee here, how much time that we spend on campus. So I think anyone here can attest to that as well. Some of my past experience with the Federation started with the home chapter here as the third vice president for recruitment and retention. And at the home chapter, we gave out scholarships, and it kind of got me acclimated to volunteering and providing for university. That precluded me becoming the third vice president for the Alumni Federation. I've been in that position for the last 2 years, and we've come a long way, and we have a lot of work to do, but looking forward to helping the Southern University in the future. As the first vice president, though, I asked that what I'd like to bring to the table is branding. I think we need to do a better job of branding for the university, and also corporate partnerships. I think we have one deal, and we could talk about that later, in the area, but we need to grow that area a lot as well. And also we need to initiate some campaigns, some type of fundraising campaigns. We need to bring some positive funds in the university. Thank you.
Testing, okay. Good morning, I am Pamela Burley. As stated before, I'm second VP, and I am running for re-election for the role of second vice president. I have been a officer and with the Federation, and a member of the Alumni Federation for the past, I would say, 10 years. I'm a graduate, obviously, in electrical engineering, and I was also a student athlete here. So when it comes to the concerns of our university and with athletics and grades and education, I definitely have an understanding of what needs to be done and the struggles that students face as a student and as a student athlete. I'm a mother of 3, so my son, my eldest son, he's an alum as well, and I have 2 younger kids. So that's just a little personal information about me. I have served as the home chapter president, and I've also served under Ms. Courtney Jarrell as the treasurer as well, along with being the third vice president, and I've chaired the new when we initiated the student recruitment and retention and hosting the first National Academic Signing Day. So it was a great pleasure and honor to be a part of that team and chairing those new committees. So I asked for a re-election with the role of second vice president to serve you. As you see over the years, the last 2 years, we initiated a lot of new programs, a lot of things to gain membership within the Alumni Federation, and of course, that is definitely with the help of everyone who considers themselves an alum of Southern University, because it takes everyone to make those type of efforts a success. So membership is everyone's responsibility, and I would just like to continue leading that role to get our membership rates up. We've increased over the years, and we're implementing new programs to help increase that membership as well. So lastly, I feel my duty is to build and maintain relationships within the Alumni Federation. That's how we increase and maintain our membership. Also, being a listener. It is important to listen to our alums and understand their concerns and their interests. And that's what I have done over the years, and I want to continue to do to understand how to move forward effectively to engage all demographics of our alums. Definitely be loyal to our organization. Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Southernites. Well, good afternoon, is it? Almost there, 2 minutes. My name is Dion Dorsett, and I am running for the position of Second Vice President of Membership Activities. It's important that when we talk about these different roles, we talk about the responsibility of these roles. And the role of the Second Vice President over Membership Activities is to provide sustainable growth strategies for the Federation. And that's not just the Federation at the national level, but that's also engaging at the chapter level. Some of our chapters across the country have experienced a decline in membership, and they need assistance, and they need help in doing that. I'm running for second vice president because I think I'm the person that can help with that turnaround. As the national chair of the Southern University Young Alumni Network, which is a membership initiative of the Federation, my job was to engage and to recruit alumni under the age of 40 to be more engaged in the Federation, to be more engaged in being defenders of the gold and blue, and to really start bringing all of our stakeholders to the table, to start creating a sustainable pipeline of leadership and philanthropy within our organization. Just a little information about me. I'm a life member on the national level and in the Houston chapter. But most importantly, I'm a staunch and unapologetic defender of the gold and blue. I believe in Southern University because Southern University created me. It saved my life. I'm a 3-time graduate of this university, and I have seen, not only in my personal life, but in the personal lives of others, what this university means. And my job is to make sure that we continue to have the alumni-based support that we need to leverage, to provide leverage in determining the direction and the future of this university, of this system. And not to forget about our New Orleans chapters, our Shreveport chapter, and our Law Center. My job has been and continues to be engaging people. I've done that for several years without a position, but I believe that I can do more in the role as second vice president, a role that has a vote on the executive board and on the executive council. And at the end of the day, no matter who's selected, we need to understand this one principle, that together we are stronger, not divided, not separate, but here at the same table, working to the same mission to accomplish the same goals. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we bring Georgette Carter on? Yes, we can.
graduation rate of students at Southern University? Thank you.
Shana? I'm sorry, Brian, will you continue?
Is my mic on? Good morning. I'm Brian Adams, and I have the privilege of asking the very first question. And I'll ask that you take 3 minutes max to respond to that question. If you want to exceed my expectation, you'll do it in 2. But the first question relates to vision. And what is your vision for the position you're seeking? And I'll ask you to think of 2 things, vision and tactic. So can you tell us a vision, and what are your tactics for achieving that vision? And since we started on this end with Laquita first, let's start on this end with Dion.
Testing. Okay, my vision for the role of Second Vice President of Membership Activities is real simple. Right now we have less than 4,000 paid financial members in the organization, and I want to have 10,000 by 2022, excuse me. The vision for membership is that we have to create a base that can create leverage. The difference between what we experience at Southern University, at Southern Knights, is that we haven't had the membership base or the alumni support necessary to create the leverage to prevent some of the disasters that we've had over the past few years. And so that is the vision as far as the role is. I want alumni to have more input and a more direct input in the future of the university. But when it comes to tactic, it's about building relationships. It's about actually getting out there and engaging with chapters at that level and talking to the chapters to find out what do they need, what resources, how can we be of assistance to them. But it's also about bringing people together who may have never had an opportunity to be at the table, who feel like their voice didn't count. So that tactic is strengthening chapters, taking a health assessment of chapters, finding out where they are, what those needs are to support them, and then moving them towards financial membership in our organization. And then not just putting people in the organization, but putting people to work in the organization. We tend to see the same faces in the same roles doing the same thing. And that's a credit to their perseverance in the organization. But it's time that we continue to create pipelines for membership and pipelines into leadership in the organization.
Pam?
Okay. My vision and tactic, my vision for the Alumni Federation, especially in the role of Second Vice President, is accountability and transparency. Over the years, when I was Third Vice President, I assisted in a lot of Second Vice President duties in membership. And one thing that I did see is accountability and transparency is a key factor in making sure that we engage our alums. It's hard to engage and it's hard to get them motivated to be a part of our organization when we don't have the tools of transparency and accountability for the roles that we play and engaging alums and asking for membership and their monies. So those things are important within the organization, and I want to, now we have tools in place. In the last 2 years, we've been working to have those tools in place, and we've been utilizing them and getting more people engaged in utilizing those. And as we can see, a direct result is an increase in membership for that. So I want to also go with the mission of our organization that's committed to high standards. So it's important that when we ask for people to be involved and engaged, one thing they want to see is what's our brand, and increasing that brand and protecting that brand with high standards. And so they want to be a part of that organization. They feel comfortable in giving to that organization, to our organization, so we can continue with the mission and of the Federation and supporting our Southern University campuses as well. So we expect our university to uphold high standards, and I think we need to as well as the Federation. And definitely one key to that is our accountability and transparency.
Ready? Okay. Brian, you talked about vision and tactics. Let's start with the vision, and I'll be really brief. One of the visions I have for the first vice president role is providing full scholarships for students. I think currently we're doing that on a partial role, but I think we need to, with the fundraising as an increase, and I think that needs to be a goal to provide full scholarships. And being as the current third vice president, a lot of students who meet on the recruiting trail, we're missing out on some just because of the dollars. And it's really competitive, and I think that would be definitely a tool. The more we can give, but a full scholarship would definitely be a tool that we can use in order, as a vision, to get more students in the university. And also help the university financially as well. A lot of the events we run, most of them we do on our own, but it would be good to provide that service to the university, either through employees, as our previous endeavor in hiring recruiters, or again with the scholarship component. So help finance the university, and full scholarships are one of the visions I'd like to get accomplished, as well as corporate partnerships. I think as a tactic, we'll move into the tactic phase, but corporate partnerships, I think we have one good deal with Liberty Mutual, and although it's one, it's very lucrative. It'd be nice if we had three. So if we can increase those corporate partnerships with the businesses in the area, I think that would be a really good tactic in order to meet that accomplishment. And then also, members like to give. We rely on alumni, not, so I'd be creeping into the membership portion there a little bit and trying to increase the membership. But I think a lot of members like benefits as well to giving. So I know it's all about giving, but some people would like to know that they get a discount here or get a discount there. The package that we present to our alumni as far as what they get for paying for the services, I think needs to be addressed and assessed.
Okay. So my vision, I mentioned in my opening, which is growth, accountability, transparency, and innovation. As we look at growth, we look at alumni engagement. And I think we have to first ask the question, why do we have only less than 3,000 or 4,000 members if we have a database of 30,000 or 50,000 alums who are living? So I think we have to canvass our alums to identify what in their DNA says, I'm not a part of the alumni. And once we identify that, then we can understand and create avenues to get them on board and to be a part of the university, to be a part of the federation. I think the other tactic in our growth method is to also start reaching back to our students as we do from a very chapter perspective. So the chapters are now mentoring, and so we are at the first introduction to those students. But once they're here on campus, we may be around during orientation. But what are we doing to engage the students at their sophomore level, at their junior level, and at their senior level? I think currently we're waiting until maybe the week or 2 weeks before to start engaging with those students. I think that we have to identify ways to connect with them from the beginning so that it incites pride, so that they have a sense of purpose, and that they want to be a part of the alumni, so that it becomes just a natural progression from student to alumnus or alumna. Also, from a growth perspective, this is a 3-minute. Okay. 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 So my growth let me just say this. My growth categories obviously is alumni engagement. It is partnerships, and it is also our relationships with the federation, with the foundation. I think that if we grow our membership, we grow our financial dollars. If we grow our financial dollars, we have a bigger seat at the table to invest into the foundation, and that way we can be heard. From a accountability perspective, I think that we should enforce a performance scorecard so that we are measured, and that is, again, a scorecard that would be implemented and shared and created by all of us, not just the board. It would be an opportunity to make it qualitative and quantitative, and so as we move forward with whatever strategic plan that we endeavor, we can measure against how well we're performing. And if we're not performing to a level of what we've created, then we know the direction that we need to take. The other thing is that we have to look at the Federation as a business, right? And so we have to beef up the infrastructure. We're at a $1.5 million.
My turn? Okay. So thank you so much, Brian, for the question. The Alumni Federation is here to serve, strengthen, and support the best school on the planet, the Southern University and A&M College. Once upon a time, we were nationally acclaimed back when I was in school and those of my peer group. We were once on lists that were nationwide lists that talked about the very academic progress that we were making on our campus in terms of science, technology, engineering, math, and our business areas. And I want us as the Alumni Federation to help reclaim and restore that national presence. For those of you that remember during that time, you made the choice to come here to Southern University because you know that we ranked very high in those areas that, let's just say, we're an A&M college, and so we should be working towards putting the M back in A&M. So that, from a tactical perspective, I definitely do see where our local chapters can help assist with these types of programs in our cities, basically fostering a pipeline of students that we can feed into our enrollment management space as well as our academic space. And then we would be partnering with those to make sure that we are staying in contact with those students and that we're communicating and talking about all of what we have what we have to offer richly from an academic perspective on our campus. Additionally, as I mentioned, it's the corporate partnerships, the Fortune 500 companies that once sat at the table with us. There's definitely a need for us to go and reclaim those relationships. There is a need for us to restore those relationships, to do any damage control that is necessary. And in addition, we need to go and get new relationships. So it's relationship management with those corporate partners. Those are going to open up opportunities for our students to work during the summers, to work during the semesters, and there's also a pipeline of funds that will come in. And again, alumni engagement, I'd like to offer that we do an AIT, alumni in training, to help foster those students that are here. They see us, we're present, we're visible, and so it's seamless for them to want to become alumni because they see us and they know the wonderful support that we're giving them as alums. And last but not least, we want to support our campus initiatives and our campus objectives from a fundraising standpoint, from a student recruitment standpoint, all of these things rolling together to help us secure the win.
Georgette?
So how I see my vision as VP is to assist the university system in building a partnership with the university system so that we may increase recruitment, the enrollment, retention, and graduation of the Southern University students. How I see that happening is, again, building a relationship with the university so that we are working together. We have some great programs that are being implemented now in the Alumni Federation, the Top Jazz program and the mentoring program. And I think that those are two programs that we need to continue to develop throughout all of the chapters so that each chapter is aware of what those programs bring and how those programs are affecting the students that are currently enrolled in the university and future Southern University Jaguars. I think that we need to, as an Alumni Federation, also work with the academia and departments to assist them with raising funds for scholarships and also keeping the alumni chapters informed of the great things and the wonderful departments and academic programs that Southern University has to offer. Also, helping the alumni chapters stay informed of the enrollment criteria is also very important. So I would like to develop webinars have more meetings with the school administration so that alumni chapters and those alumni that are going out and recruiting for the university are up to date with information and well informed. Thank you.
Shana. Shana.
This question is for all candidates, and this time we'll start with Laquita. Please express what the following statement means to you. Knowing the truth and the personal capacity to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth are desired character traits for elected and appointed officer positions.
So what that means to me is that we are operating under the auspices of visibility. And what does that mean? That means that we are talking about and communicating our plans and our goals and our initiatives. And we are implementing trackable, measurable things that we can communicate to our alum. So it begins with being able to communicate effectively our goals, our plans, our initiatives. It's also giving visibility to those goals and those initiatives that we are seeking, and then being able to communicate effectively to our constituents, to our stakeholders, which are our alum. I see our alum as stakeholders, and I see those areas on campus that we interface as our stakeholders. And so giving that visibility, being able to track and measure the things that we're working on is what that statement means to me.
What I captured is telling the truth. And in my platform, transparency is a key word. Transparency, if you're transparent, you're telling the truth. You have to be honest. You have to understand and identify and acknowledge where you are. If you acknowledge what's happening, what's occurring, then you can create a difference and implement change. If you don't acknowledge, if you're not transparent, if you're not honest, you can't create the vision to create the future for us. It's important that we don't always do the right thing. We don't always say the right thing. And it's important to say, hey, I messed up. It's important to say, you know, that initiative just didn't quite work well last year, but we can change it if we're transparent, and people will support it if we're transparent. So, telling the truth is what I got from that statement, and it's important to be honest in your work.
Okay, I'll be brief. And what I took from the statement was more of like an open door to ideas from alumni, having an open door. And for me, it meant more just being honest about where we are, you know, not sugarcoating the situation, you know, the dire need, you know, where we are. I think we need to be honest with that, and then being honest on how to fix it, and you know, setting disparity aside, and just, you know, if this is the way we have to do it, we have to do it. So to me, it's more so just being honest with where we are and what we need to do to fix it.
So I kind of agree with everyone thus far, and I think we all understand what the statement means, and that is being truthful. And to be truthful, I agree. I also think that it's with transparency. So we have to face the hard facts, the hard truth, and sometimes those things aren't what we all want to hear. But in order to come together, and in order to make a change, in order to make things better and alleviate those problems, we have to face the hard truth, and we have to have transparency and coming together and talking about those issues together. So definitely being truthful, whether we like the outcome or not. The only way we can create a change is by being truthful, so we can work together to create a better organization and move forward.
So, okay, great. That's a very interesting question. To me, the truth is very subjective. So when someone talks about they want the truth or they want transparency, I believe you have to have a defined methodology in how you provide what they're looking for. And I'm specifically talking about metrics. So what it means to me to be truthful is to provide meaningful metrics about where we are, where we've been, to listen to the data in making decisions to move forward, to recognize that even though we are very talented individuals, that we can't do it all by ourselves. And that means being truthful about bringing more people into the table, people who have professional capabilities that may exceed our own. When you take your oath to be in this Alumni Federation or during graduation day, it was about giving your time, your talents, and your financial resources. And we have to be truthful about where we are in those. We have to be able to open our records and open up our books to our members. Our members don't need to know what our financial position is just one time during the year at a national meeting. They need to know where we're at all the time so that they can be more engaged about helping us out of our position into a better position. So when asked about the question about truth and transparency, that's what truth and transparency is. What's in black and white? What can we learn from?
Georgette, you're online.
To me, that statement is about transparency and also about being well informed. I think that our alumni nationwide need to be well informed about what's going on at the university system level as well as the Alumni Federation level. And that means getting the information, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. We cannot move forward if we don't know what things need to be changed, what things need to be working, and how to improve on all of the systems and all the things that we're putting into place. So making sure that our alumni are well informed on what's going on nationwide, what's going on at the university, and what's going on in the Federation is very important. Thank you.
Shana.
So with this question, we'll start with Georgette this time and go Dion and back around to Laquita. What are your views on enhancing the Southern Night and other communication between the Federation and alumni chapters?
So my view on the Southern Night, I think that it is a wonderful magazine and a wonderful tool of communicating what's going on with the Federation. It may need to be submitted more often than it is now. One of the other things about the communication is right now a lot of the communication goes out to members who are financial members and paid members. I feel that we have to reach all alumni. The only way, well, one of the ways to get people to join the Federation, the Alumni Federation, is to let them know what we're doing. There are a lot of members who have no idea what the Federation is. Some people don't know the difference between the foundation and the Federation. And so in order to begin to increase membership and have people who are alumni of the university but are not Federation members, is to let them know the great things that the Federation is doing. So I think communicating to not only financially paid members, but to also all of the alumni, those who have graduated 5 years, 1 year, 20 years, 50 years, is very important. We need to let all of our alumni know the wonderful things that the Federation is doing so that they will want to take part and be part of the Federation. Thank you.
Okay, so in regards to the Southern Night, for me, the Southern Night was one of my first encounters with the alumni. Being a student at this school, there wasn't a heavy, strong alumni presence when I was on campus as far as engaging with students. I happened to pick up a Southern Night once when I was in the alumni house, and that was my engagement. That's how I was able to see the great things that were happening with alumni across the country. That's how I was aware of the alumni that we had in such distinguished positions, whether in politics or in business. And so I think it's definitely a needed publication. I'm a firm believer in out of sight, out of mind, and we need to get Southern, we need to get our organization in front of our members as much as possible. But I also believe in making good financial decisions. And so I think the future of this publication is something that continues. I think the publication needs a dedicated staff, quite frankly. We can't continue to expect our administrative team of maybe 4 volunteers to continue to do all of this work. And I think we need to start polling our members to find out, do you want your Southern Night by the mail? I don't want my Southern Night in the mail. You can email it to me, right? So that's postage that we don't have to spend anymore. But for those alums that want that in the mail, that want the physical copy, then that's something that we can look into providing. I also believe that this publication needs to start making money. It's not just enough to send out something that makes everyone feel good, but we need to find a way to tie strong advertising dollars in a sustainable manner to this publication.
I think the Southern Night is a great publication that we're able to give our alums, and we're looking for incentives for different types of levels of membership, and as of now, the last publication was for our life members. I think it's a beautiful publication. Actually, I put it as one of my memoirs for my Southern University area. So I do love it. The last piece was beautiful because we were able to not just highlight officials and those things, but we're highlighting just our regular alums and where they are and what they're doing. And I think that's what helps individuals want to be part of an organization when we're not just highlighting just our top level officials and we highlighting just all our members. So I think that's a great recruitment tool as well, and it's good to see where our alums are going and the stories that come along the way. I do think that we have to look at the revenue for the Southern Night because it definitely is expensive, or it is pricey for publication. I also think that we can use it as a money-making tool. Right now it's just for life members and it's free, but we can look at other alternatives of charging or giving it as a choice for other members that want to have access to it, which is, you know, if they want to pay a little more and they're an annual member, they can receive it as well. So it can be a definitely fundraising tool for the Federation, but I definitely think that if we have it, you know, we have our news and notes weekly, so we can have this maybe quarterly or more frequently to highlight our alums and show what we're doing year round. Thank you.
Yes, the Southern Night, I agree, it's a great piece of document. It does a good job of recording our present day history and accomplishments on hopefully a yearly basis or quarterly, however we decide to do it. I think one enhancement would be, you know, it is quite pricey to produce. It's just making it digitally available to alumni. I think that may be a way to cut costs. And the other part of your question is about communicating with the chapters. And the Southern Night does a good job of grasping that, but I think it's one piece to the communication process. And you know, countless times again, different chapters get different information as they get it fed. So I think it's a one piece in a problem that we need to get everyone on the same page as well as one avenue to where they receive information. And I think the year membership is a good start to that. We can get everybody on that process as far as online and with the app at the university. I think we could be more in line. As soon as information comes out, everyone can know exactly where to go to get it. As far as relying on Facebook and some of the traditional methods.
So I agree with everything that's been said. And if I could enhance what has been said, I would say that first we do have to create a budget. That's a budget for the entire federation so that we can hire additional people. That's part of building an infrastructure that is set around the engagement of the federation and the things that we want to accomplish. We definitely have to canvass our alumni base to understand and identify who wants a hard copy versus who wants an email. I think that there are always going to be members who would like a hard copy of the Southern Night, and I think we should always continue to engage at the level of what our alums want. But outside of that, the enhancing part of it, I would say we should also think about modeling from other chapters. And I'll take, for example, the home chapter. If any of you are on Facebook, the home chapter is always recognizing its members. They talk about their joining, they talk about who they are, they talk about what they're doing in the community. And those are things or ways that we can enhance not just the Southern Night when it comes out once a year or quarterly, but we can enhance and give that information on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, a quarterly basis, somewhere where we are recognizing the accomplishments of the alums in our communities, not just the Baton Rouge community, but across the globe, wherever alums are located. So that would be my enhancement, and also a communication tool, is to utilize social media a little bit more than what we're doing today. I think that we have we're present, I should say, we're present on social media. I think that we have a Twitter, we have a Facebook, we have Instagram, and as we reach millennials, we have to reach them where they are, and social media is it. We've got to figure out a way to do Snapchat. I don't know if you guys know this, but from a enrollment perspective, they're scanning through Snapchat, and that's how they're filling out their applications. So it's the same thing that we have to identify, again, how to reach the younger base so that they can come into the Alumni Federation as members. But again, enhancing would be creating that recognition year-round and communicating through new tools.
Okay, so thank you. So I actually hold the Southern Night very near and dear to my heart because in 2005, Mr. Donald Wade said, "Hey, I think I want to advertise you in the News and News and Notes is on my brain, in the Southern Night." And I didn't think that he was serious, but he was, and I actually ended up in that publication. And so I hold it near and dear to my heart because it is one of those items and perks that we actually say as a thank you and appreciation to our life members. I do see that there are some things that we can do differently, and I do agree with polling our members to determine who wants it in the traditional U.S. mail format, who would prefer to take it on their e-reader, on their Nook, in some other format electronically, and then that way I think that sets us up in a position to defray some of the costs that we all know that the Southern Night can provide us. In addition to that, I see the Southern Night as a huge opportunity for recruitment, and I see that we can actually begin to think about how we track our recruitment increase via the tool of the Southern Night by putting something on our publications, on our postcards that say, how did you learn about us? Did you hear about us through the Southern Night? Can we translate those touches into actual recruitment dollars that have come in and revenue for the Alumni Federation? And so I definitely do think that there's also an opportunity for us to expand and to highlight some more of the activities on our campus and our student base as well within the Southern Night, and I think that that will give us more mileage. And in closing, I think that there is also the opportunity for us to revisit the cadence of the Southern Night. How often do we need to provide this out to our members, and are there other vehicles of communication that we can utilize that will help us convey the same message? Thank you.
Shana? Pat, I'm sorry.
Okay, so the next question is to the panel, but I'm starting with Laquita than going around the table. What impact have you had on the Southern University system's 5 campuses and student recruitment, retention, mentoring, campus life, graduation, and other areas?
Okay, and so we have 3 minutes for that question.
Yes.
So I will do my best. And so in terms of my impact on the campuses, I have served on this campus in the role of the Business and Industry Cluster Chair. And in that role, we get the opportunity to touch the students academically. We get the opportunity to partner with them from a career readiness standpoint and ensuring that they are confident and ready for going from the classroom to the boardroom. And so fortunately, here on the Baton Rouge campus, from an academic standpoint, we are in the classrooms, engaging with our students, and that is really important in making sure that they feel that they can get the win that we need for them to get. And so that touches on our student recruitment, that touches on our student retention, because we need to let those students know that the alumni are here and that we're partnering with them. Additionally, from a fundraising perspective, from an impact perspective, we have been very fortunate in the Dallas chapter to have done some very creative fundraising initiatives, and we've awarded a lot of money in fundraising dollars, scholarship dollars, to local students in the area who have landed in some instances on the Susla campus and some on the SUBR campus. And so with that being said, and actually we've actually put in an arm where we are actually funding graduate students. And so those students that are here back on the SUBR campus or maybe seeking another a degree. And so with that being said, you know, since I've been president, we've awarded over $120,000 in scholarships, and we know that those are touching all of our campuses and our system as a whole. And then lastly, I'd like to just model something that's near and dear to my heart as well, and that is the Adopt a Juke effort that we did on last year. And that was an effort to raise the funds for 250 new uniforms for our beloved human jukebox. And with that, we were touching students who actually could see that alumni cared about the state of the condition of how they were representing our brand that's been mentioned here already today. And so with that being said, I'm excited about where that program can take us, because we are actually partnering with those students. They see the alumni, we're present, we're visible, and they're going to want to be us one day and be really excited about that. And so that's the touch, and that's where I've had my impact. Thank you.
So the question is the impact on the 5 campuses and a list of specific areas. I believe it was recruitment, retention. Could you name the other? Okay, thank you. Okay, so I've served on the recruitment and retention committees for the past 3 years and 8 months. We meet every Friday about 2 o'clock my time, 4 o'clock Central, and we talk to administrators, to other alums, and we talk about the state of the university. We talk about what we can do to impact change, understanding, identifying what students are going through, and how we can create a positive environment for those students. In addition to that, as the president, and I hesitate because it's 2 hats. So as a president and as a parent, coming on campus and identifying the things that you see around campus that are not what you anticipate or expect. I wrote a letter. I wrote many letters, but one in particular that actually got the attention of the Board of Supervisors as well as the Chancellor. And that letter was an opportunity to share the observations of not just my observations, but the observations of our chapter. And we talked about dual enrollment. We talked about lights not being on, broken. We talked about campus safety. We talked about trash receptacles, beautification of the campus. We talk about the academic buildings. And I had the privilege and the honor to sit with the Board of Supervisors and with the President Chancellor of the university to discuss an active plan to get those things changed. And I'm starting to see the fruits of that labor. So we talked about the website. The website, this was about a year ago, but the website is now here. We had SU Smiles as a result of that, brought from the Shreveport campus. There are just so many things that, as we work as alums to build a better campus and to build a better future for not only the current student population, but the future population, we are always trying and striving to impact and affect enrollment numbers, impact and affect retention, because what does that do? That creates a better scorecard for the university system overall. Is that okay? Supporting the SUSLA Connect. So from an enrollment, oh, is that what that means? Okay.
Okay, Carlton?
Okay, it starts now, right? You talked about my impact in recruitment, retention, mentoring, and campus, and all those were key areas in my role as the current third VP of the Alumni Federation. And all that started as my third VP of the home chapter right here in Baton Rouge, giving out scholarships to students to university then. So I had an early opportunity, 4 years ago, impacting students and seeing the look on those faces. And you talked about recruitment, retention, and mentoring and how we affect those, but we also have to include parents as well. So in that role, you include the university, the federation, and also parents. We forget about parents and their roles in the students' lives here on campus. So I've definitely had a direct impact on that. As the third VP currently, I am the chair of the Recruitment and Retention Committee. And as Camille stated, we meet weekly. And really happy to report that group has been meeting for the last 4 years, and I've had the privilege to be over it for the last 2. But we're up in all those stats. I'm not sure you're familiar with that. May not be much, but we're up in all those stats. Recruitment, the Honors College is up by 40% over last year, and retention as well as a recent call looks like it's on the way up. I'll call it. So I think being the chair of that, I definitely had an opportunity to see the problems and also see the successes. And 2 big groups in that were the top JAGs with Eldridge Jackson and the retention portion with Dr. Ford. So definitely working with those guys have really given me a chance to work hands-on with the university, being involved in those meetings, meeting the parents, alumni, and faculty, and getting those initiatives producing. Thank you.
So my experience in all what was stated and assisting our campuses, especially in recruiting, retention, and graduation rates and so forth. In my personal life, aside from being a mother and those things and ensuring I can say I have a son that came to Southern, but seeing him through the pipeline and letting him matriculate through this pipeline just like every other student, we got to experience flaws and things that our students going through every day and addressing those issues. But before that, I was a teacher and I taught high school. And one thing that I did do is got my students and I would take them here for different events and show them Southern University. So even early on, before I became a member of the local chapters, I knew I had a dedication to Southern and trying to get students back, and even bringing students that didn't meet the criteria to get in to come and take those exit exams so they could get to Southern University. So I would drive students here, and having my own kids that were young at the time and dedicated to this university, and trying to get students here and trying to be part of the Southern University system, because I knew the importance of coming to an HBCU, because I didn't start out at Southern University. I started out at another, at Northwestern State. And so I was able to give students a comparison. I always tell them what is the difference of going to a Northwestern State or McNeese or coming to Southern University, and the network and the support and the camaraderie that we have here is like no other. So so those are the things that I've done. In helping New Orleans chapter, when I worked in New Orleans, I would stay after work and tutor kids and tell them about Southern University. And that's a pipeline to the SUNO campuses and the SUBR campus. So I've always had a dedication of Southern University and recruiting students. And of course, as my previous role as third VP, initiating that student recruiting program and sitting on those calls every Friday, and listening to our alums across the U.S. have their concerns, and getting our university officials, faculty and staff on these calls to assist us and help these students and help our processes through the university. So I've always been committed to providing that and assisting all our 5 campuses. We've created we've included them in our conferences. So not only do we always have it in Baton Rouge or our mini conference, but we're going to the SUNOs and we're going to the SUSLA, because we want them to be a part of this, and we want to show unity within our 5 campuses. So I was grateful to be a part of that.
Okay, could you please restate the question? It's been a while. Now let the clock run. I'm prepared. I'm just.
5 campuses and student retention, recruitment, mentoring, campus life, graduation, and other areas?
Well, truthfully, I can't say that I've necessarily had impact on all of those campuses, right? I think one of the problems that that we've had over the years has been that we sometimes neglect our smaller campuses, and the main focus tends to be on SU Baton Rouge. But I can tell you what impact I've had with this campus and in promoting the Law Center. For many people don't know, but my first job straight out of undergrad was a recruiter position here at Southern University. There were 2 positions that were open. There was one for actual admission and recruitment, and then there was one for recruiting students into the Educational Talent Search, which is a TRIO program designed to encourage students to come to college. And so we would go out monthly to these schools that had been identified as disadvantaged schools. And each time that I was there was an opportunity to share the Southern University story, the Southern University brand. While I couldn't directly recruit for Southern University, every time that I would address the group, it would always be, my name is Dion Dorsett, and I graduated from Southern University. And these are the things that are possible if you get a college education. Additionally, after I finished my recruiting stint here at the university, I moved to Houston, Texas, where I continued to participate in the career fair. But one of the things that when I was in high school, I was joining the military, and a recruiter came to my house and sat in my house and told my parents why I should join the military, why this was going to be a good decision for me. And so I used the same concept in recruiting. I go and I sit in the homes of parents, and I tell them that if their child attends Southern University, I'll be with them every step of the way. I'll be there when they have an issue with registering. I'll be there when they need mentorship. I'll be there for graduation. And that's the type of commitment that we have to start, the level of commitment that we have to. People are putting their most treasured treasure or precious jewels in our care. And so I take recruitment, retention, and graduation. I take all those things incredibly seriously. And one of the other things that we were able to participate is that when the Federation started its recruitment and retention initiative, The Young Alumni Network started a mentoring campaign to start directly mentoring students that were currently at the university.
Georgette, you're online.
So I've been recruiting since I graduated from Southern University in 1992. And with that, I continue to recruit, and I think I'll be recruiting until I pass away, because recruitment is very important. I was part of the regional recruitment initiative that the Federation, the Alumni Federation, began and the university took over. So I did regional recruitment for 3 years, and even once in the Midwest region. And so even once the contract was no longer renewed, I continued to recruit because that was very important to me. And although my region was the Midwest region, when the DC chapter president called and asked if I could do a fair in the DC, Virginia area, I was there. I still recruit in the Puget Sound, Seattle, Washington area. And I've also helped other chapters. If you call me and you need assistance with recruitment, getting materials, I'm there, because recruitment, retention, graduation is very important. And and another thing that I've done is in the Chicago chapter, we started a group meeting, which I got the idea from the Memphis chapter as well as the Los Angeles chapter. And a group meet is a way to connect with the Southern students. And so in our group meeting, we inform the students of career fairs that are happening or giving them reminders of the career fairs that are happening on the campus, and also giving them information on scholarships. Anytime that I am at the university during homecoming or at the university for any reason, I call and check on my students, let them know that I'm there. We go out to eat dinner. Anytime that they have had any questions or concerns regarding academic problems that they're having with their professors, I'm there. I'm there to help them. I've helped a couple students who have received unfair grades, and through the assistance of other alumni chapter members, we've gotten grades changed. We've gotten scholarships for students. So we continue to do that. And I also continue to support the Top JAG program. So that's a program that started by Eldred Jackson and Patricia Deemer. And so whenever they need assistance with helping plan a program, I'm there. And I'll continue to be there, and I'll continue to support all of the systems in any way that is possible. If you call me, I'm there, and I will give support and assistance. Thank you.
Thank you, Georgette. We'll move forward. Shana?
We will now move to position-specific questions, and we will start with President. What are your views on enhancing communication between the Federation and the Southern University system? And we'll start this time with Camille.
Okay. My views on enhancing the Federation relationship with the Southern University system? That is the question, correct? Okay, so I think, yes, we definitely need, I think that there is, I mean, you can see a sense of connection and collaboration currently with the current board as we are moving forward with initiatives that will advance not only the university but also the Federation. But do we need to continue? Absolutely, we need to continue. We need to identify areas where we can be of help from an alumni perspective. So we are in the workforce, and we are in various disciplines and in various industries around the country, around the globe. And we have an opportunity to be subject matter experts for the university. And so the university could utilize us from the perspective of bringing relevant content and new academic content to the university, keep us relevant. We talk about wanting to ensure that Southern University is sustained and that it will continue. And the only way to do that is to ensure that we are grounded in the principles of this university. It starts with the enrollment management piece. It goes on through a student's time here at Southern University, again, with the content that's relevant to making them gainfully employed out there in the workforce. So do we need collaborative relationships? Absolutely. But I do see that it exists, again, because of the initiatives that are happening currently today. But we have to continue and strengthen those. And I will say that as we are on the calls on Fridays, we try to bring different aspects of the university on those calls. So we talk to enrollment management, we talk to financial aid, we talk to housing, we talk to every campus viable department. And I think that we have to extend those conversations further and deeper, not just with the Southern University Baton Rouge campus, but also with SUSLA, with the law office, with the law school, with the Ag Center, and with SUNO. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so there definitely has been progress made between the relationship with the Federation and with the systems. And a lot of that is largely due to our past national presidents and the emphasis put there identifying those gaps and being the stopgap, if you will. And what I would like to present moving forward is that we continue to be present at the table to have those discussions with those system entities. And what does that look like? That means that we come up with a regular meeting cadence with an identifiable agenda with those things that we want to accomplish. So we're identifying our goals, we're identifying the deliverables that we want to meet, and we are also identifying those areas that will allow us to measure and again be very visible about our success and what our success criteria really is. What I'd also like for us to do is sit at the table and begin doing some brainstorming sessions to determine where it makes sense to plug and play the Alumni Federation and how we can enhance the needs of our campus, the needs of our system. And then lastly, there are intersection points. How do we touch on those intersection points so that we make sure that we're working smarter and not harder, and that we're doing things more effectively? And so where there are things that the Federation can take leadership on, we can take ownership, then allow us to do those. We take advantage of those meetings to give updates very regularly so that we can communicate our progress. And then where those things are that the system would need to own, similarly, those communications would need to go forth regarding our progress. Thank you.
Brian.
Is it on? Okay, it's on. Okay, so we're going to do things a little differently. I have question number 2, and question number 2 is for the presidents also. And I'm going to ask both ladies to look at me and to put their pens down, because I think it gives an unfair advantage. If I ask Laquita the question first, then Camille has time to write and respond. If I ask Camille, then Laquita has. So if you were standing, we wouldn't have that. That wouldn't be an issue for me because you wouldn't be able to do it. So I'll ask the first question, and I'll still continue to try and be fair. I've flipped a coin, and I'll ask Camille, heads or tails?
Heads.
It says tails, so you get to go first.
Okay.
So the question
Works for me.
So now the question is, describe at least 2 innovative programs you have introduced to help the Federation.
2 innovative programs
To help the Federation.
to help the Federation. Okay, so the first I will start with one that is newly released and will be helping the Federation as we move forward. So I'm one of the founding members of the Entertainment and Education Partner. And with that, we are releasing an online portal that allows the life learners, so students, faculty, staff, alumni, anyone in the global community, to log in and select a class, not for credit, and go through that class. And what that does for the Federation is that it will be a fundraising tool. So monies will be earned and given back to the Federation in addition to the foundation. So it will be in forms of scholarships or whatever we identify as a source or a need in the future. So that is, it's revolutionary. It's we're setting a precedent. There's no other alumni base doing it, and so it's going to be, and it is a great advancement as we look at online classes. We're partnering with the university, so that's an initiative that definitely is going to enhance not only the Federation but also the university, Southern University system. In addition to that, I've mentioned before with the recruitment and the recruitment efforts and the retention efforts and signing day. So those were new initiatives that we started 4 years ago, and I was on the ground floor working with the teams and building the infrastructure and the tools that we use for the toolkit in order to create signing day and make it is what it is today. Obviously, we're always enhancing and moving forward with it, but being at the ground level was exciting. Being a part of working with the students, and the alumni and the administration is always the best way that I know how to give of my time.
Okay, so thank you, Brian. Under the leadership of Mr. Al Harrell and the visionary of the Reverend James Brown, we have a campaign that's called MDM, $1 Million March, and it's been around for, I think, probably like 4 years, 5 years now. And since its inception, I have represented the Southern University Alumni Federation as a captain, and I would like to say that in 2017, though in 10th place to our executive director, Mr. Derek Warren, who raised a lot of funds. I did come in as the 10th top raiser for the Federation in 2017, and I think that that initiative is something that we can be very, very proud of in terms of how it really is far-reaching across our campuses as well as with the Federation. In addition to that, being the captain, there's also the initiative of dual fundraisers, and that was actually something that I talked about when I ran for National First Vice President in 2014. And so for those chapter presidents that may have been around during that time, we've initiated one very successful dual fundraiser where the Alumni Federation was able to reap funds as well as our local chapters when we did our 75th Diamond Anniversary calendar, and that was very profitable for us, and we were fortunate enough to be able to share that good success with our local chapters. Thank you.
Pat.
Are you ready? Okay. Last question for the presidents. From your leadership experience, what are your strengths to lead the Federation? And I'll start with LaQuita.
So it's passion for me. I love this organization. I love this institution. I am often teased about living on I-49. Does she really live in Dallas? Can't be, because we see her all the time. And so there is a passion that I have for Southern University. There is a passion that I have for the students that matriculate on this campus. And there is a desire to see the win for this university, for this system, for our students as they venture off into the quote-unquote real world. They're really living in the real world now. But basically, there is a passion that I have for all of that, and I am totally committed. I've been unwavering now as I started this journey at the age of 22, and to be now 40-something, you know, there's been some lowlights and some highlights, but as we have walked through the journey together, we've landed together. And so with that, there's also a spirit of effective leadership, and I'm very results driven, and I have to thank Texas Instruments for that, and all of what I've learned as being a leader there and managing a team of developers and solution architects, and being able to take some of those very same models and tenets and bring those into this particular role as the president. And so I think for me, it really begins and ends with the love for this university, and where your heart is, there your treasure will also be. And so my treasure is here at Southern University.
So the question is,
My mic on again?
Have you devised? No, that's not the question. See, I'm trying to speed up the process. From the leadership experience, what are your strengths to lead the Federation?
okay, thank you. So from my leadership experience, I'm a finance person, and I'm a people leader. I have managed P&Ls of $250 million. I have consulted for CEOs and CFOs. I have the background and the finance acumen to run an organization of this magnitude. That's a $1.5 million organization. We are headed into new territories. We are looking to build our alumni house. That's a $40 million project. We need to identify and have a person who has the wherewithal, the business acumen to run a business. And I believe that the Federation has to be looked at as a business. We're in uncharted territories at this point. I'm a visionary, but I'm also very grounded in principle and the democratic process. I've been successful. I've worked for nothing but Fortune 500 companies. And again, as I mentioned, I'm a people leader. But the thing that we also have to understand is that this is a volunteer organization. And so as we talk about being accountable, as we talk about direction, we also have to remember that we have lives outside of this. And so we have to be compassionate toward one another. We have to identify the subject matter experts. I think Dion mentioned earlier, sometimes we're going to look for people who are stronger in areas than ourselves. But we have to reach out. We have to reach out to the entire alumni base. And so I am a very collaborative leader. I ensure that my vision is a collective vision, and my engagement is at the level of every single last one of us. I attended Southern University on a track scholarship, and so it's all about giving back, and it has been since I've graduated. It's a pay it forward. And the passion that Laquita talks about, I think we all have, and we all want the best for the university. And so with that, again, I will say from a financial backing, from a financial perspective, with also the soft skills of being a collaborative leader and being able to get people engaged and incite them and get them excited about what I'm excited about, is what I have envisioned for myself and what I've envisioned for the Federation, as well as my current chapter. So I encourage you.
Okay, so this question is to the first Vice President. Have you devised any plan of action to implement a major fundraiser to support the Federation priorities?
Yes, and earlier I talked about corporate partnerships, and that's one of the things that I think will probably be my goal, to add on to the small amount we have already. Actually, one of the local restaurants here, I think Quarters, already started conversations on providing benefits to members here in the area. So that's just one example, a real world example of what I like to add to the Federation package that we have alumni members pay for. What I'm looking for is to develop more companies, maybe even in our STEM regions. Like I say, I'm a contract for ExxonMobil. They already do corporate matching. And that's something, another plan I like to implement is document those companies that are matching. We have no way of knowing who does it. Or we have a faithful few, but there are more out there. There needs to be an avenue similar to students with scholarships. Okay, hey, well, what kind of scholarships are out there? Well, what companies are matching? And and where are alumni in those companies, and can we, maximize those benefits? So that's one of the areas that I'd like to also address as well. Corporate matching, and there's also corporate partnership. So looking for corporations to provide benefits to the Federation is one of a goal that definitely needs to be added to our repertoire.
We'll now move to second vice president, and we'll start with Pam. What are your specific plans for increasing Federation membership across our multi-generational organization?
So my plan, and is to enhance what we've been doing in the past 2 years, and that's with creating, we talked about accountability and transparency, and we've been doing that in the past 2 years, and with our new YM program, not program, but our new YM, our website, and enhancing our website, making it attractive to this new millennium, and actually have multiple links that you can go to for membership, for engaging all our chapters. So it's a one-stop shop where we can look for what's going on with our university, what's going on with all our chapters, have calendars for all of that. So I think that's one thing that, and it's also, you have to be a member to access certain parts of that website. So I think that's a good incentive, and it's good for membership. So when people are paying and giving their money, they want to see something. They want to see what we're doing new. So we have to always create new programs and new incentives for our alums. I would like to see maybe quarterly incentives. Again, I think Carlton had touched on that. We need to, we want them to have a sense of this is their duty to give and be a member of the Alumni Federation. But we can also give them incentives, maybe quarterly, if you join between in this quarter, there's a prize. So there's ways of having incentives to engage more alums, and they feel the sense of getting something back. Acknowledging our alums. So we're starting to do that more, and finding ways, like in our Southern Night or at our programs, we want to acknowledge our alums. We want to make them feel special. We want to make them sense a sense of purpose in this organization. So those are just different areas that I'd like to see highlighted. Again, what we're doing more is you'll see Federation officers, and you'll see our executive director and other members within the Federation at chapter meetings. So we're not only our own, but we go to others. So we're definitely becoming a organization, and we're becoming officers that go and support other chapters. And in that sense, the chapters feel that the Federation have their back, and they will promote more of our membership, purpose of membership, and getting membership for our organization. So again, we want to commit to our high standards and our mission, and with that, we will engage more alums to be a part of this organization.
All right, thank you for the question. One of the first things that I wanted to state was that back in 2012, I put out this plan of what membership strategy I wanted to employ to help increase our membership, to help increase our retention. At the foundation of that plan was to actually have a viable membership platform. A website-based membership platform that could do multiple things. I mean, we used to be in a position where you couldn't register and pay your dues at the same time in the same place. We're not in that place anymore, and I'm happy. But straight out the gate, what we want to do is that we want to maximize all of the capabilities of this membership platform that we currently have. But more distinctly, we need to start developing target goals on what we want to see in membership, and then start devising the plan on how to get there. I spoke briefly about providing more resources to our chapters. Our chapters are the front line of this organization. Those are the people that have the day-to-day direct contact with prospective members and with the community. The things that I want to do is to provide the resources those chapters need. But one of the problems that I've seen is that we haven't asked our chapters, what do you need? We haven't asked our members enough, what do you want? So it's one thing to sit here and say, well, we're going to do all these different things, but we need to start asking questions, right? And so that we can better support them. And I talked earlier about doing a chapter health assessment. We need to know what chapters are declining in membership, what chapters are struggling to retain good leaders, so then that we can help support those chapters. Some of those chapters we're going to be able to help over an email or over a conference call, but some of those chapters we actually got to be boots on the ground and actually attend their meetings and actually engage with their leadership team to help them continue to build. But another major thing that we have to do is that we have to understand that membership is a give and take. Not only are you expecting someone to give to you, but they want to take something away from that experience as well. And that's why in the future I will be proposing starting a partnership with Career Services here on campus, because Career Services shouldn't just be to make sure that our students get employed, but to make sure that anybody that came through these halls, that studied in these buildings, are always gainfully employed. So we want to be able to provide things that continue to keep people as members for a long time. We have to remember that membership, because we're dealing with a multi-generational group, that membership is a lifetime endeavor, not just a momentary one.
This is the last question, and it is for the third Vice President, Georgette, who is on the phone. Oh, you want more questions? Georgette, the question is, what are your strategic plans to recruit more students from outside of the state of Louisiana to ensure Southern grows and maintain a footprint nationwide? And I'm going to add a little bit onto that and ask, can you also then tell us what are some of the things that you're going to do? So if you take office July 1st, what can we expect to see different by December 31st, 6 months later?
So very good question. So I agree. Recruitment needs to be focused nationwide and system-wide as well. In my time as recruitment, we've only recruited for the Baton Rouge area and not focusing on our other campuses. And so I think that when we are recruiting, we need to be thinking about all 5 of our campuses and making sure that recruitment material is available from all of those campuses. So in terms of recruitment nationwide, I'm looking at doing a training with all of the alumni chapters who are interested in recruiting, and that's all of the chapters. And so through a webinar or more facilitation with the different admissions and recruitment departments on the university site, being able to have our recruiters, one, to support the Southern University recruiters. So I also want to go back to the recruitment and admissions department and stress to them the importance of regional recruiters. There's no reason why, as a Midwest region recruiter, that there was no recruiter from the university that had touched those areas that I was touching. And that goes the same in the southern region. You know, when we're talking about this year, the Dallas chapter has done a phenomenal job of recruiting students without the assistance of the university. And that just cannot continue to happen. And so having a conversation with the director of admissions and recruitment during the summer, to ask them how we are here to support you as the alumni chapter. So how do we do that? And bringing numbers, I plan to do an analysis of where students are applying so that the university can see through those statistics that there is a need for regional recruitment. and that when our numbers were increased to, 10,000 plus, it's because we were because students were coming nationwide. And so if we want to increase our student enrollment, we have to think outside of Louisiana when we're talking about recruitment, and we have to recruit everywhere. Again, I'm a native of Seattle, Washington, and when I've gone to schools and have done school presentations, those students in Seattle, Seattle probably has a population of maybe 5%, African Americans. But those students want to know about the university. They want to know about HBCUs. They want to know about Southern University. So we really need to reach out to those students nationwide. So for me, starting that process now, which I have, I've reached out to, thank you.
So we want to thank you all for allowing us to gather here, and we want to thank you for your tolerance. We're now going to allow each candidate to give a 1-minute closing statement. And Georgette, since you're online, we'll start with you.
So again, my name is Georgette Carter, and I'm running for the position of the 3rd VP, which consists of recruitment, retention, and mentorship. I feel that we need to recruit nationwide and system-wide. We need to build a partnership with the university so that they know that we are working together in a collaborative manner, because we want to increase our enrollment as well as our graduation rate. And we also want to cultivate the students that are graduating from the university so that they will want to give back to the university, become alumni members, and continue the recruitment efforts. So as VP, 3rd Vice President for the Alumni Federation, those are my plans and those are my tasks. Thank you.
We'll continue with Dion and come around.
All right. I guess in closing, I'd like to remind you all that my name is Dion Dorsett, and I'm running for the position of 2nd Vice President of Membership. And I'm not running for this office because I want to be the 1st Vice President one day, or I want to be President one day. I'm running because I was taught where there is a need and you have the talents and you have the skills, that it is your duty to step up and to give your all into changing things for the better. I recognize that we've had a really great leadership over the past 4 years. We've had a pretty amazing team. But we've done a disservice to the efforts of the past 4 years, because we have not had the membership base to back it up, to really be able to leverage our concerns and to actually be a voice. When you look around this room, no board or supervisor members are here. I don't really see too many people from the administration that is here. My job is to make sure that alumni voices are heard, but to make sure that those voices are financial and engaged.
Yeah. Again, I am Pamela Burley, and I'm running for re-election for 2nd VP. And I just would like to just continue to work with this great team over the past 2 years as 2nd VP, in creating new programs and new tools for us to use to increase our membership. Within the last year, we actually have increased our membership with almost, I would say, roughly over close to 1,000, a little under 1,000, between 8 and 1,000 members. And I think that is because we implemented the new program where we can go online and join and have it accessible, whether we're at work, whether we're at the park, wherever. We can get online and access our sualumni.org and become a member and see what's going on. So we have real, not real time, but we have current events on there weekly and daily.
Again, my name is Carlton Jones. I'm running for 1st Vice President of Southern University Alumni Federation. And I'm looking forward to whomever is elected, and if I'm given an opportunity to do that, have that position, to trying to provide the best value for the alumni. I think that's the goal. Again, we're all volunteers here. We're all giving our own personal time away from our families. And I just look forward to adding value and initially taking a chance to assess and try to make some honest changes to the Federation.
Camille Mayo, candidate for national president. I'm a 1993 graduate from the College of Business with a degree in accounting. I have a master's degree, business administration, with a focus in managerial leadership. And I have the financial acumen to support, to lead, and to manage our organization. Again, remember, this is a $1.5 million asset that we don't want to fall by the wayside as we continue to engage with new initiatives that will expand our reach and create a global footprint for this university and for the Federation. If we stay mission-driven, which is to recruit students, which is to increase our financial support in advancing the university, again, as we stated, I think everyone has, we can leverage our commitment and have a larger seat at the table when we're talking to board members.
Can I go? Okay. So again, and I thank everyone for being here today and for giving up the time to hear all of the candidates. And so again, I'm Laquita Thomas. I am the candidate for national president for the Southern University Alumni Federation. And my path to success started when I was just 17 years old and I received a scholarship from the Houston chapter to come to the best school on the planet. And there has been coaching and mentoring and educational opportunities that I've received while I was here on this campus and that I've received as an alum. And I'm very fortunate to be in a position to pay it forward, to enlighten and encourage and motivate our students here on this campus to one day become us. And so I charge all of us, I'd say that the call to action for all of us as we're looking and evaluating all of us that are here today is to keep in mind our results, keep in mind effective leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. We appreciate all of your efforts to join us here. Those of you that traveled, we appreciate and pray that you will have a safe return. We thank you, audience, for your tolerance and patience with our setup and staging challenges. We want to thank you for attending and listening. We also hope that this forum has provided us all with a strong sense of engagement with our Federation and our candidates, and we ask that you continue to be mindful and support us in all of your endeavors. Balloting begins May the 1st through June the 28th. You will start receiving those ballots at the end of April. You have the option to submit your ballots by paper. You will have the option to vote online. You will not receive email balloting. We will continue our hybrid transitioning going forward as we cultivate our processes and migrate to electronic balloting. At this time, I want to also remind you that registration is now open and available. Your links are in news and notes. Please read news and notes every week because our updates are coming out. And I want to thank Khadijah Campbell and Derek and staff for doing such a wonderful job in working with us. I want to thank our committee. We were in the Alumni House working till 11 o'clock last night. And so if they're just a little drowsy, unfortunately, one of our members had a bad encounter with shrimp, and he was unable to join us, but he was with us last night working very hard. At this point, I will turn closing remarks over to our president. Yes, Khadijah, Club 41, Khadijah brought them to the table, and we really appreciate that you all have come to help us, and we thank you. Preston?
Thank you, Linda. Again, another round of applause for our slate of candidates. Weren't you? I will tell you that I think that this organization is going to be in absolutely great hands. I think we've had a great, wonderful 4 years. I think Jonathan Campbell came, Khadijah, and whispered in my ear, and he said, I'm sure it feels a little surreal that people are talking about taking your job here, but I'm excited. And I'm excited to see the prospect for our future. It really is a bright future for our organization. I would say that we've got some people in the audience as well that I want to thank, but I want Derek to stand up because his wife is here. Yeah. And Anita, I just want to thank you because I know what you give up by sharing Derek with us is a whole lot, and he works day and night for this organization. You all don't see, those watching, what goes on behind the scenes to pull off events like this, and this is an incredible event, notwithstanding some of the initial technical challenges. And Jonathan was here, and Khadijah, I want you to stand up because I'm not sure if I see him now. I'm sure he's probably caring for one of your children, or he's in the back. You know what's incredible is that I thought when we hired Derek, we hired an executive director. I thought when we hired Khadijah, we hired an assistant executive director. I had no idea we were hiring their entire families who have committed so much to our organization. But when you see news and notes go out every Friday, keeping you informed and alert, that's Khadijah in the middle of the night, early in the morning. You know, these folks are texting and emailing all. You know, I believe they work 24/7 or they have some sort of clone. I don't know how they do it, but I want you all to give them another round of applause. You know, in our audience, we have folks who traveled from near and far. We mentioned Anita, who flew in from Atlanta, but we have what was our. I don't think you're a treasure anymore, Verna, but you have been a treasure to us, and we thank you. We saw your husband, again, this is a family affair, who's outside looking at the Mississippi River. I saw him. Vincent is the president of the DC chapter. Courtney Jarrell, who I didn't get a chance to introduce earlier, who's our president of our home chapter. Kessie Weir, who is the president of our EBR chapter. We've got folks from all over that are here today, but more importantly, our listening audience from all across the country has been absolutely fantastic. You know, and there's some people who work behind computers and they never say anything at all, but they make the lights and all the bells and whistles work. But we don't always recognize them. And Clorth Wilson, please stand up. So all the technical stuff that happens, the magic around National Academic Signing Day, all of those things are absolutely incredible, and we thank you and Marcus and your entire team for making that happen. We thank you so very much. We have greatness in our audience here today. Dr. Robin Merrick, who is our former executive director, who is the vice president for external affairs. Thank you so much for joining us today. She's been with us all morning, as she is with us all the time. And so I think you are certainly ubiquitous because you are certainly everywhere and all-knowing, it seems like. And I understand that your boss has been online with us as well. Derek shared with us at the beginning of the program that Dr. Belton, the President Chancellor, has been watching this candidates forum remotely. So all eyes are watching to see the transition of this illustrious organization. So I'm very, very grateful for all that that has happened. So again, I look forward to the transition for a very spirited campaign. It has now begun in earnest. So Madam Chair, thank you so much. You've worked so hard, and I'll turn the floor back over to you.
We'd like to invite you to a small reception at the Alumni House to network and mix with the candidates as we close this session. So please join us, and thank you.